morning to everyone. I'm John Webster, and welcome to another edition of the Daily Deuce. Today, we have another edition. We'll be talking to our special guest, Keith Jones with DKN Sports, a veteran sports broadcaster and a dear friend of both mine and Gary. Gary Graves, how you doing?
All right, just kind of on the move this morning. Doing some things, getting ready for school, getting ready to teach in a couple weeks. So, yep, just boogieing that way, and waiting for football season.
It sounds great, man. Hey, Keith, welcome back, man. How you been doing?
Good to see you, Big John. Not too bad. It's interesting. I'm interested to see what Gary might teach us on this show, but I'm also very anxious to see what's going on with the NFL is coming upon us. It's a 12-month a year sport for the athletes now. They got to stay in shape and stuff, but it's getting close to a 12-month a year sport on the field as well. We're already in August, and we've seen our first preseason week, so it's been interesting to see all the games and all the engagement with fans, and the NFL is still that 800-pound gorilla. They have the most avid fan base and the most rabid fan base, and it is interesting to see around the country how the NFL still has this stronghold on all these fans.
You are
Yeah,
right, man. Well, we're excited to talk to you about those New York football giants. We're going to go through some analysis with you at the end. We're going to let you tell us what that magical record is going to be for this season for the Giants. But starting off with this, Joe Schoen and Brian Dable are still with the Giants as general manager and head coach. Will this last the whole season? Will it last 7 weeks? Will Russell Wilson be the starting quarterback the whole season? Will Jameis Winston get a chance? Or will it be Jackson Dart saving the day? Will Scatterboo come in and be the next Saquon Barkley at running back? Go talk to us, Keith. Tell us what's going on.
Well, I love the way you led that in. That's a great job there, JW, because the Giants are the great unknown, both in the NFC East and in the NFL. They had a dismal season last season. It's been kind of dismal for those Giant fans across the board for a number of seasons, but they're looking to see what happens. They brought in Russell Wilson, as you mentioned. It's again, he's with another team. He left Pittsburgh, and now for the fantasy football fans out there, Russell is now a New York football giant. He did get a bit of practice in the preseason game against the Buffalo Bills. Shit his short passes, and it's going to ride on Wilson for the first part of the season. In that, is he the Russell Wilson who's going to go into the Hall of Fame, or is he the Russell Wilson that can't really complete passes and decide where he's going to do in a panic mode? But the Giants, they drafted Jackson Dart out of the University of Mississippi. He showed very well in the preseason game against Buffalo, so they like what they saw. He actually rushed for 24 yards, but get a little combination of a mobile quarterback, which they need. You mentioned Jameis Winston. Jameis is one of the best backups in the league. He used to be a starter, but now he was designated backup at the facility in New York, and we'll see sometime this year. But he's so inconsistent. He's another player that either plays like an all-pro or plays like a fourth-string quarterback, and we saw a bit of that in the first preseason game in Buffalo. But he is a guy that he's kind of the steady Eddie. You can turn to him if you need to, and he has brought teams back for victories over time. So it's important there. The odd man out here is the Giants veteran quarterback now, Tommy DeVito, fourth on the depth chart. Russ comes in as number one. Right now, Jameis is number two, but Jackson Dart is the rookie that they're going to look to. Now, Daniel Jones has obviously left the building. He left last season, so it wasn't all Daniel's fault the way the Giants fell apart, even though he was kind of the scapegoat for the longest time. And he said, I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to leave the building, and we'll see how good you guys become. And they never became halfway good from that point on. So, yeah, Brian Dable is certainly on the hot seat. It's a tough division. We know what's going on. What's going on in Washington is nothing short of phenomenal. They get to the NFC championship game last season against the Philadelphia Eagles, also in that division. So you got those two powerhouses. You're not sure really what's going on down in Dallas with Uncle Jerry. And so it's going to be who's going to take the third slot. Is it going to be Dallas or is it going to be New York? And the Giants have just about as good an opportunity as anybody between those two teams to take the third slot. But as long as they improve and they seem to grow, Dable could be safe, but as you gentlemen well know, anytime you get rid of a head coach, you put yourself back a season, two, maybe up to five, depending on the impact they had on that team. We see the quick turnaround for the New York Jets as far as Robert Saleh is back out in San Francisco as a coordinator. He got fired by Woody Johnson for the Jets, and then they bring in Aaron Glenn, who had played in New York for the Jets during his playing days, and it was an assistant coordinator with Dan Campbell in Detroit. So great move for the Jets to trying to not miss a beat, have that quick turnover. They may be much more productive under Justin Fields leading their charge than they have been in the past when Aaron Rodgers was there. That is still up for discussion as far as that goes. How Justin Fields will be productive for them, but the Jets are trying not to miss a beat from that standpoint, and that's brings us back to the Giants, who have missed so many beats over the last number of seasons. They've got to get some stability going. They're hoping Russell Wilson could do that. Cam Scatterbo, great draft pick out of Arizona State, comes in. He didn't see action in the game against Buffalo, but this is a kid that really is very dynamic. He's kind of like a Barkley type of back where it's multi-purpose. And I think we're going to see that a lot more in the NFL going forward as you get these guys out into the flat and the short passes, but it's the yards after catch that really make a difference. And that's the productivity you're looking for, because even the Giants had some 4th and 1 situations against Buffalo, and they never went for it. They attempted to get up to the line, try to draw the Bills off sides, but the Bills are very disciplined under McDermott, and they're not gonna jump off sides as their general practice. So this is where the Giants need to get. The Giants need to get to the Buffalo level of productivity, and offensively and defensively. For the Giants, it looks good on the defensive side. They have some very good defensive backs who really have put some time in and look like they're going to do some damage. You have a rookie out of Mercer named T.J. Moore, who is number 30, and he looks like he could be an impact player. And you have other guys that have been stepping up, including Page and the guys early on in the season. So it's been tough. On the offensive side for the Giants, I know we're going back and forth, but it's important to quantitative, because
Sure.
their tight end system and their tight end depth is really apparent. They've got a great young kid who's number 86, Thomas Ferdoni, who's a 7th-round pick out of Nebraska, and it was pretty productive in the preseason game. But they have about 3 tight ends that look like they really could make a difference on that. And from Thomas's standpoint, he's way down on the depth chart, but he is a draft pick, as I mentioned, in the 7th round, so he was likely to move up. Theo Johnson right now is listed as their number 1 tight end, but with them, all of them working together, it looks like they really could. Goes back to the Mark Bavaro days. The successful offensive that they ran around the blocking and the catching tight ends in the Giants system. So
How about the wide receivers, Keith? You got Malik Neighbors over there. Does he get any help this year? What's going to happen?
yeah, look, it's interesting. You say he's been sitting out. He didn't play against Buffalo. They're trying to protect the young guys who they know that can really be productive and don't need as much reps. Yeah, you have little Jordan Humphrey and Bo Collins. They're not real deep as far as level of quality of wide receiver, but they are certainly in a situation where they do have some depth, which is very important. They have this young guy, Gunnar Olszewski, and he's number 3 right now on his uniform, but he's been kind of a go-to early on. He's kind of on the slight side, so he's not a big
Mhm.
receiver. He's pretty quick. So he as a young wide receiver could see more time on that. Smith Marset, number 87, is certainly a guy to watch out for. He showed pretty well against the Bills, and certainly is trying to make a difference, and it's going to be very important to see how the Giants can utilize that depth where they, with Dabo's system, you have this this run pass option, and
Mhm.
it's a question of decision making, right? So you have this play called, you do your check downs, you look at your one, your two, your three options, and you try to pick the best one. The decision making is going to be paramount. Now you get a guy like Russell Wilson who has all that experience, all right, but can you get the chemistry together? Can you get the flow going? They open up the season in Washington against the Commanders, which is
Mhm.
going to be a very big tail game early on. It's obviously week one, but in week one, certain matchups tell you a lot about that. So that is very intriguing game for me in week one that I'm looking forward to.
Well, you know what? And you bring up a good point. It's going to be very intriguing. And Dayball intrigues me because I think back to his first year when they were like 9-7, if I'm not mistaken. And then they've struggled the last couple years. That he had a quarterback in Daniel Jones. I think he was not Josh Allen, but I think Dayball saw some similarities he could take advantage of.
Well,
This year, with him having Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson, is he going to dial back the playbook some? Is he going to be able to still open it as extensively as he has in the past?
that's a very good question there. You think that he would open up the offense a bit more than they have. Daniel always suffered from, I'm not sure what I should do in this situation. And for supposedly a smart quarterback coming out of college and taken so highly, they thought this level of quick readability was there for him. And I think he just lost so much confidence, and it eroded so much in such a short period of time that he really wasn't coming back, and he needed a new place to land, and fortunately he did from that standpoint. New York is a very tough place to play. The Giant fans are insane, but they're also across the board pretty much realists. They realize
Mhm.
that after when we start out 0-3, we're probably not going to make the playoffs, and we're probably not going to be so good. So it gets interesting when you when you go to a game at MetLife Stadium as the season
Mhm.
goes on. If the Giants are winning, the stadium is full. If the Giants aren't winning, it is barely half full. So as
Mhm.
time erodes that away too. So high expectations all the time when you go in there, but you know what you're getting right now because as you mentioned, Brian Dable has been at the helm now for a few seasons, and you have expectations, and it's no different than the Mara family and the Tisch family have expectations every year for the
Mhm.
Giants when you're looking at that because this is one of the oldest franchises in the NFL, one of the more successful franchises over years in the NFL.
Mhm.
They have a few Super Bowls to their credit. I know it's more than a few for those who are going to be nitpicking, but they've also had some of the greatest players ever to play the game, like Lawrence Taylor. So
Mhm.
come to that franchise. So the expectations are always high in New York, and it's really it's a wait and see. And if you had the crystal ball, it would be great because you'd be living on one of the three islands that you own from knowing everything that's going
You
on.
know,
But
you mentioned the great Lawrence Taylor, one of the absolute best players the game has ever had. They
oh,
just drafted a linebacker named Dexter Carter from Penn State. I'm not going to say he's going to be Lawrence Taylor. I would never put that on anybody. It's like when basketball, you say it's the next Dr. J or the next Larry Bird. You don't put that on somebody. But I will ask you, is he a game changer?
He can be, he's a Micah Parsons kind of guy. I mean, this is
Hmm.
why, the slide over quickly to what's going on in Dallas, and this unrest. First it's C.D.
Hmm.
Lamb for the longest time. Now it's Micah Parsons. I mean, these guys know their worth, and they're worth a lot. They're worth a lot in the league, and they certainly are worth a tremendous amount to their teams. So when you get a guy like Carter who can be a game changer, yeah, it's again, I'm with you. I'm not putting it up with LT now. He may eventually get there, but
Hmm.
Lawrence was a game changer. This is the thing, and I harken back to, he was one of the greatest interviews I've ever had in that I've done in the game, because he was just so forthright and just so on. His knowledge of the game was tremendous. But here's a guy that certainly could change a down. He could change a series, and he can change a game. And we haven't seen guys like that come through the league very often, and especially on the defensive side, and at that position. Lawrence Taylor, obviously one of the greatest linebackers of all times, with one of the greatest NFL players as well. I
Hmm.
did see him. He was at the White House a number of weeks ago, because I think he's going to be
Hmm.
involved with this new Council for Physical Fitness. He was
Hmm.
happy to be there. He said he wasn't quite sure why he was there, but he's Lawrence Taylor. So what are you going to do on that? But we go back to the defensive side of the ball, and that's where the Thibodeau on the end, puts that
Yep.
pressure
Kavon
that
Thibodeau.
way. I
Yep.
mean, you
Hmm.
know, the Giants' defensive line is fairly solid. The linebacking core, I like the depth. I like the utilization. I like defensively what the Giants can do. The
Hmm.
defensive backfield to me seems a little susceptible. I mean, I know that Banks came out of Maryland. I'm a Maryland guy, but every once in a while I'll look, and it looks like he's still a little bit lost back there. But it's you have to play to strengths. But Deontay's right now, the one of the starting cornerbacks for the Giants, so that's good there. And on the other side could be Hawkins, could be a Debo, but these guys in the backfield. I mean, if you can get between the linebackers and the defensive backs, there's a pocket there they seem to give up on a pretty regular basis. The Bills were fairly successful in going at that area on the field. So we'll see how it comes together. They like the Giants also like to play with the nickel back
Hmm.
on defense. So it should be interesting. You got McFadden, the linebacker, the number one depth chart guys right now. Burns is on the outside, and Kenkwe is also on the inside. So um, the depth is pretty good. They look do the Giants pretty good at the linebacker position. But again, how do you come together as a team? That's the big question. And can your leader lead you and motivate you? And who are the leaders in the locker room?
Hmm.
That's what we've seen in Washington make a huge difference. And so what's going on with New York in the locker room? You've yet to hear who's really stepping forward and being a leader on that team.
Yeah. You bring up some really good points. I know, like we said in the beginning, they lacked a lot of depth last year. They had some significant injuries. On their front line, I think they finally got some help for Dexter Lawrence. He's been doing a lot of it on his own, but I think this year they're going to have some help. You mentioned Kavon Thibodeau. He's given the Commanders nightmares on many, many occasions. So, what's your take on it? You think that front line is going to hold up with the help they have for Lawrence this year?
Well, Lawrence has been a big body in the middle of that line at the tackle, nose tackle, and you've got some guys I think they can step up. Whether they will or not, I think the Giants have thought about making sure they have that backup help. But again, it comes down to the player, comes down to the execution. I will say, in watching the Buffalo game, DJ Davidson, who's a little bit lower on the depth chart, number 98, seemed to do a pretty nice job. Had a couple of tackles in there, so it's 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 that wait and see. You're still so early in the season, and it's going to be an uphill battle, no question for the Giants. But they have the ability to finish better than last season. There's better than not so good, good enough. For the management and for the ownership and such. That's John. That's what we're dealing with in New York.
So, Keith, let me ask you the $64 question. What are they going to look like record wise this year? What do you think? Give me a number.
Oh, that's the
If you want to, we can go through it game by game if you want to.
Oh, we can do that. Let's do that because we don't. We want to talk about the Giants' schedule
Okay.
this year anyway. Because like I
First
said,
game.
they open up in Washington, which I think historically speaking, having covered the East for so many years, it used to be the visiting team would win. So you win on the road. You're
Mhm.
supposed to win at home, but you lose at home and you win on the road. So but I think it's changed a little bit over the last few seasons, and Washington should win that home opener, but
Okay.
it'll be a
So
Giants team they haven't seen. So we're at 0-1 so far.
uh, at Dallas. At Dallas.
See, here's the rub on that. The Giants can win in Dallas, and I think as we were sitting here talking about it, that they could take that game away from the Cowboys. So then they go to 1-1. All right.
Okay.
So
And that's going to make my son Dante very sad for his trip to Dallas, but he's going to have to get over it, right?
well, this is, if we're gonna talk about Dallas, I could talk about it for days because those fans are going to be really disappointed. I know a number of them that I talk to regularly, and first they complained about the CD Lamb holdout, and then now it's like, why aren't we signing Micah Parsons? And what's going on in Jerry World, and what's going on with Uncle Jerry, and and this is the problem when you're the owner and general manager, you control the purse strings, but you also
Mhm.
control the roster. Right. So and he doesn't like to part with a lot of the dollars. So, that's been proven over the years, but he wouldn't be the successful businessman that he is if that was different. So, from that
Sure.
estimation, you expect that he's going to hold the line and he's going to do whatever needs to be done for the team to be as successful as possible. So, as the Giants, then I guess the Giants host the Chiefs, right?
Yep.
I don't
First
think
home game.
that's going to be a rough. That's going to be a rough home game. I couldn't tell you that the Chiefs are going to put up 45 points against them, but that's going to likely drop the Giants to at least 1-2.
All right.
I
Then they play the LA
Char-
Chargers.
Yeah, so I think the Chargers the hosted Chargers at home. I feel like they can win that game at home against the Chargers. The Chargers are a team to be figured out, and we'll have to wait and see how Harbaugh brings those guys together or doesn't bring those guys together. So,
At New Orleans.
so now we're 2-2.
Yep.
New Orleans is in a situation where they're kind of getting a little bit of a makeover. So a quarterback has been a question and how that comes together. The Giants could win on the road in New Orleans. Perhaps they won't. So that would put them to 2-3.
Two
If
and
I
three.
Okay, and
Then they
then
come home. Then they come home to play Philadelphia on a Thursday night.
short week is never a good week, as the players will tell you. If somebody doesn't pick the Eagles for that game, that they probably say that they have a screw loose. So we'll have to side with Philadelphia as painful as it is, and as historically goes, um, the Giants could win that game against the Eagles, but the likelihood is not so right now. So now we're what, 2-4?
2 and 4. Then they go to Denver.
You gotta like the kid running the offense for the Broncos.
Bo
I
Nix.
Yeah, I think that Knicks may take down Wilson in that game. So that puts you to 2-5.
2-5.
on the
Then
road
they go
against.
to Philadelphia.
So 2-6. We're going all right.
Then they
Okay. So this is
then they
very
come
helpful.
home for the 49ers.
This might be therapeutic. Well, at least it's therapeutic for me. It won't be for the Giants fans for sure on that. 49. Hey, Brock Purdy, is he worth the money that they paid? Debo Samuel's now in Washington. They've lost some
Mhm.
important parts. They do have to travel across the country to play in New York. So, with the November upon them, would the jet lag get to them a little bit? They probably not so much. Professional athletes and the teams get there early enough. They hopefully don't have to deal with the time change and everything else. That will be a 1 o'clock game. So for those fans out in the Bay Area, that's a 10 a.m. kick. Which
Mhm.
I like 10 a.m. kicks because you wake up. Why do you want to wait till 1 o'clock to get your first football in the air? Personally, but so the Niners win that 2-7. The Giants then travel to Chicago, right? This is
Yeah.
intriguing because what's Chicago going to be like this year? What hot mess? That other than the NFC East, I think that NFC North is the division to watch.
Mhm.
The Packers are
Mhm.
kind of sleepers right now. The Lions have dominated. The Sam Darnold's now out in Seattle, so he's not the head man in Minnesota. It's JJ McCarthy. What's going to happen there? And then you have the Bears. So I think the Giants can take Williams and the Bears down, even though it's on the road there. So that could potentially be their third win of the season. And
Okay.
so then they're what, 3-7.
3-7.
So
3-7.
they're getting there. We're getting there. Um, yeah, Packers come in then to MetLife Stadium the week after.
Mhm.
I don't know that Jordan Love lights them up, but it's certainly by that time we'll know what kind of team the Packers are going to be because as Jordan Love goes, so will go Green Bay. So
Mhm.
I think that Green Bay could take that game away from the Giants. So what that puts you at 3-8.
3-8
On
at Detroit.
Well, Detroit's been just phenomenal the last few seasons and certainly the last couple of seasons. So they're tough to beat at home, which you never thought that you would ever say over time. I think Detroit wins that game. So 3-9. Are we there? 3-9.
3-9, and then you go to New England for a Monday night game.
Well, so New England is definitely one of those teams to watch. That the third division that I'm intrigued by is that AFC East because the
Mhm.
Patriots are coming up a little bit. They've got the new head coach, and you look at the hot mess going on in Miami, and Buffalo's pretty solid. Probably will win that division, but you never know in that case. But I think New England, with their improvement, if they continue to improve the way they have been, I think they take that game away from the Giants. So
So that's New England with a win, so that makes them 3-10.
okay, and then Washington goes on the road to play against the Giants. So where's Washington at that point? We're talking into December now, and the Commanders have to have taken command, no pun intended, but you can take it if
I
you
like
want.
that, Keith.
But they need to have taken command of their season by then, or you'll know where they would go. I would think that Washington would make the playoffs, so that's an important game for them. Uh, they have won on the road against the Giants. I think they will take that December 14th game, and the Giants will be 3-11 at that point.
Okay.
Uh,
And then home against Minnesota.
if JJ McCarthy keeps progressing, Justin stays healthy at the wide receiver slot, the Vikings should win that game. So 3 and
Okay.
12. Whew, it's getting
3 and
bad. It's
12.
getting bad. People,
At the
Giants
at
fans
the
have already turned.
Raiders.
Giants fans have already turned this program off. By the way, and then and then the Giants have to go to Sin City to play against the Raiders. Um,
Mhm.
where are the Raiders going to be this season? That's a good question. Besides Las Vegas, that was the given. But where are they going to be as a team? I give the Giants the slight edge in that one. It'll be a couple days after Christmas. and the Raiders may have had too much fun in Las Vegas before the Giants get there, so they may have a little fog in their brain. We'll see on that one, and then the end of the season. This is where it's going to get interesting because we're now in January. It's crazy to think that football regular season is going to go into January, uh, but
Mm-hmm.
but the 4th of January, the new year is upon us, and the Giants are hosting Dallas. I
Mm-hmm.
think that the Giants can and will win that game,
Okay.
which would be a
So
heck of a way to finish. Was that now that makes them 4-12?
5-12.
Five wins. Look at that. That'll be their fifth win. This could be a this could that it could definitely be a game changer on that standpoint. Now tomorrow I won't remember which ones I said. No, I pretty much hedge and not to stand by that. It's hard to do it. If I knew all those answers, John, I would be a very rich man, and I would be living on one of the three islands that I own for knowing who to pick in those games. But it's the NFL. The Giants may surprise a lot of people, good, bad, or indifferent, but that's what we're deeming that way. That so it's a 5-win season for the Giants, and I'm not sure if that's enough for the Giants fans or the Giant management or the Giants ownership. And so there's going to be an interesting offseason as well for the Giants.
Well, Keith, you gave it to us as only you can give it to us. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only, simply one of the best, Keith Jones, veteran sports broadcaster with DKN Sports. Keith, my friend, I can't express to you how much I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come join us on the Daily Deuce. You gave it to us straight. You got the New York Football Giants going 5-12 this year. You're going to have to maybe have some people come to your house and commiserate with you. That's going to be a rough season for them. But man, love you, man. I love how you bring it to us each and every time. So
Well, you
thank
you
you
help.
so much.
You, hey, you're very welcome, John. You bring out the best. I appreciate you engaging that way because I'm far and away not a Giants fan, but being a member of the media, you don't root for any teams, but when you have to break it down, it just brings back great memories of being in locker rooms and being in team rooms and things like that. So appreciate it very much, and we'll see. We'll look forward to talking again in the near future.
We definitely will. Keith, thanks for coming on. You all hold on. We got another segment coming up. It's going to be Jesse Clay talking about the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Can they repeat as a division champion? Can they repeat as an NFC champion? Can they repeat as a Super Bowl champion? Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Daily Deuce. I'm Gary Graves on location in Lexington, Kentucky, ready to talk about the NFL with my man John Webster and our special guest Jesse Clay, who's going to discuss the Philadelphia Eagles. Good morning to you all.
Hey, man, good morning to you. This is our last segment of the NFC East. Some people will say we saved the best for last. We're going to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, Gary. And
Oh,
who
yeah.
better to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles than the one, the only, the Reverend, the Doctor, Jesse Paul Clay Jr. Jesse, how you doing, man?
Well, I'm doing quite well. Thank you for inviting me to the Daily Deuce. I'm glad to be a part of the segment of the NFC East and representing my Philadelphia Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Well, let me let Gary and I help you a little bit here, man. We got some questions for you already just to get you going.
Hmm.
Can the Eagles repeat as NFC East champions?
Hmm.
Can the Eagles repeat as NFC
Uh,
champions. Can the Eagles repeat? Barkley repeat the season he had. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith repeat their seasons. Can the defense repeat their season after losing two very important stalwarts on that defensive line? Jesse Paul Clay. Talk to us, man.
well, uh, I heard most of your questions, but I can imagine what they were. The first question, can the Eagles repeat as NFC champs? Now, you know they haven't done it since the Eagles did it back in 2004.
What better
And
team to do it then?
that's right. I believe that this year we have a good shot as repeating as NFC East champs. One of the reasons is because, you know, we have a difficult schedule, but so does everybody else in NFC East. We're playing against some very, very tough competition. So are the Washington Commanders. So are the Dallas Cowboys. So I think this year we can do it. We can repeat as NFC East champions. Um, can we repeat as I think you said Super Bowl champions? Um,
Yes.
I believe that we have a very good shot to repeat as as Super Bowl champions. Now we got some tough teams to go through. We're going to have I believe Detroit's going to be difficult. I believe that San Francisco is going to be difficult. I believe that the Los Angeles Rams are going to be difficult. I'm thinking that maybe even Green Bay might be a little difficult. But those first three teams, they're juggernauts. But I think we can take them, and it's going to be a tough road. It's not going to be like it was last year, but of course this year it's a new year, and we have, I believe, what it takes to make it. We're not even thinking about last year anymore, as our leader says. Uh, um, Jalen Hurts, he says, we're going to wash that out our brain. And all we doing is focusing on this year. And this year, we're not defending our Super Bowl. We're trying to win the Super Bowl. Okay. Now, I'm almost sure you probably said, is Barkley going to have another year of 2,000 yards? And I don't think so, because they have seen how to slow him down, which means that our wide receivers, Smith, Green, Jahan, even our tight end, Goddard, they're going to have some monster years, a monster year, because if you're going to slow down Barkley or Shipley, well, then somebody else is going to be wide open. So I don't think he's going to get 2,000. I would guess that he probably would get somewhere around 1,500 to 1,700. Now, the reason I say that is because he probably will end up getting 100 yards per game. And there's 17 games. He might get injured one game or not play one game. And so I'm thinking around 1,500 yards, something like that. It will be very respectful. I think this year, my man from over there in Baltimore will probably get it, the most yards this year. Then I think I heard you say, is Devontae Smith going to have the same year? Um, Devontae Smith is going to have a better year than last year. AJ Brown is going to have a better year than last year. Jahan Dotson, he's going to have a better year than last year. Well, his is not that hard because he didn't really, contribute a whole lot until he got into the playoffs. But he's been looking extremely good. We're just watching. This is the first time I watched a preseason game. In all of my watching football, the entire game against Cincinnati, and watch our number twos whip up on their number ones. Whoa, man! I think we're ready to go. Was there another question that you had? Because I missed. I think I might have missed one.
Well, I got one. Actually, I got two.
Okay.
Okay. You kind of answered one in terms of Saquon Barkley, but in a copycat league, oh yeah, in a copycat league where everybody kind of figures out, okay, let's try to do a little bit of what the champions did, but knowing that teams now, such as the Commanders, are geared up to beat you all to get to a Super Bowl, to win a division. What has to be different offensively? Because, as you said, Saquon Barkley is not going to have, at first glance, a 2,000-yard season. AJ Brown might not be the go-to guy. You mentioned Devontae Smith, but what does Philadelphia have to do differently to beat other defenses? And then, secondly, what does that defense do differently this year, especially without a couple of key players that go away after winning the Super Bowl?
Well, I think on offense, we already learned from the couple of times that we've been to the Super Bowl back in 17 and 2 years ago that you cannot come back with the same offensive push that you had the year before, because teams are, the defensive coordinators are looking at that, and they are trying to figure out that they're some of the smartest defensive coordinators, and they know exactly what to do to slow down a team. So I'm thinking that what they want to be doing now is they're going to start off with the run, which they ought to, and then they're going to see whether or not they're going to be building a wall. If they're not building a wall, they're going to keep running down your throat. If you're going to build a wall, then they probably are not going to look at Brown first. They're going to probably look at Jahan, because he did not play a whole lot. He didn't play a whole lot. He didn't get a lot of catches last year. And he has shown that he can catch the ball again. He has shown that he can play wide receiver. And so I think they're going to probably be looking at him a little bit more. Of course, Devontae Smith. I mean, the sideline, is there such a thing as a sideline to him? I mean, this cat can catch the ball, put 2 feet down and fall out of bounds and look almost impossible. He did it all year, last year, the year before that. So he's going to be thrown down. AJ Brown is just a freak of nature. And if he goes one-on-one against almost anybody, the only person I've seen slow him down so far is Quinton Mitchell. And they said he's been slowing him down in practice and talking smack. So, but everybody don't got those kind of skills. So I'm thinking that they're going to be throwing across the middle, and they're going to take their shots downfield, because, a year before last, when they went 10-1, when they went to the Super Bowl, they were crushing folks with the passing game. Well, they can return back to crushing folks in the passing game because they got that big old threat behind them called Saquon Barkley. And I'm going to tell you, Shipley, this boy, he's just as fast and as elusive as Barkley is. So it's going to be, and then we got a nice big old, I forgot his name, got big old running back in there. There's a bruiser. So it's going to be pretty interesting. Now on defense, that's interesting because we lost not just those two beasts on the line, but we also lost a safety. We lost a couple of linebackers that played very well in the Super Bowl, in the Super Bowl run. Um, I've been paying a lot of attention in to the Eagles broadcast. Comes on twice a day, and I've been reading the Philadelphia Inquirer, and they have, I believe, kind of addressed the line. They got a couple of guys coming in who either were coming in as spot players or bench players who are going to have to step up. Um, we're going to miss Sweat. We're going to miss Sweat, but we're going to miss Sweat like we missed Hassan last year. Somebody else is going to step up and, and run this thing. The question is, at linebacker, they don't really have no problems. Boy, they got about 4 or 5 linebackers that are just ready to eat. Our number one pick. I mean, this boy, they talk about him like he is. I can do it all. The He can do it all. He can run, rush the passer. He can guard tight ends. I mean, he can get up on the line. He's big, strong. So at linebacker with Zach Bond and him, Campbell is his last name, and they got, of course, the Trotter boy. His father was Hall of Famer. They got him. They're going to be pretty good at linebacker. The question to me is safety. Um, C.J. Gardner is very tough to replace. They got a couple of guys that were there last year, and they brought in a couple of guys, but none of them have separated themselves. But they may do all right. And then, of course, the cornerback. Now, Big Slay is gone. So I'm a little concerned. They got a couple of guys, that may be able to take his place, or have Quinton take his place and have somebody do what he does. The defense is still kind of like the boat has not come in yet. Haven't really decided. I can't make a decision whether or not we're going to be at that same level or not. I think we're going to be a little bit lower, and of course, offense is going to have to pick up a little bit more this year to make the things. Because I mean, on defense, you saw the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
all
I
I
mean,
can say.
it was about as good as it gets to basically record what half a dozen sacks without one blitz, and with 3 and 4 man fronts, or I'll say 4 and sometimes 3 man fronts. You thoroughly discombobulated a future Hall of Fame quarterback, and by that I mean there was one play where he walked up to the line and he looked, and it was like, what do I do here? Nothing, it's just like, yeah, they're showing 4 men. They're not showing blitz or anything else like that. And they didn't blitz and they still got to him. So, teams, how you all disguised that last year, how the Eagles disguised that in a big game like that is remarkable to anybody who watches football. But what can you do? How do you do that again? With, again, you lost some personnel, but of course you picked up some personnel. And to me, the guy that really turned the game for you, that really showed how deep this defense is, you mentioned Zach Bond, and that's, with the pick six, that's a guy nobody really expected. He's the one that I'm wondering how big of a season, and he was rewarded in the offseason with a big
Sure
contract.
was.
Um, how does he thrive even more this year? Is he the guy we look out for? Carter, guys like that. How do they? Where do you see them really kind of blossoming even more than before? And for what it's worth, when they drafted the guys out of Georgia, I knew that defense was going to be wicked at some point, and last year really proved it.
Yeah. Well, Zach Bond is a beast. And to me, it seemed like he didn't know that he was going to be a beast until he became a beast. And when he realized that he was a beast, he just went on and just was a beast every game. Now they got this guy, Jahad Campbell. That's what I was trying to get his name. Now he is supposed to be just as tough as he is, except he's a rookie, so he might make some rookie mistakes. But I don't know. I mean, they are raving about the linebackers more than anything else. Now, Jordan Davis, who I always thought was, I didn't realize that he didn't really play as many snaps as that he played a lot less snaps than I thought he did. But for some reason, he realized that riding the bike, losing weight, and getting in shape is the thing to do. Now, brother, I'm just going to say out loud, you ought to have known you're getting paid money to be in shape and to rush the quarterback. But they are excited about him because he lost the weight. He's stronger. He's faster. And you put him and Carter next to each other, and then they still have some other boys. Let me see. These new guys, Ty Robinson. I don't really know him that well, but watching him play, he can play. Moro Ajumo. I mean, just the name itself sounds like the Tasmanian devil to me. So on defense, it's like I say, it's still these some of these players have not been tested in the Eagle defense. Kind of difficult to say where they're going to kind of land at. They also have this brother who Cooper DeJean, who he's kind of like Campbell. He can play cornerback. He can play in the slot. He can play the nickel. And I don't know if you remember this game against Baltimore when their running back, what's his name? What's the big dude's name? Anyway,
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry got the ball. Okay, he was getting ready to take off, and Cooper DeJean, bam, and put him on the ground. Now, I mean,
I remember that.
When they kept showing that, I was like, whoa, wait a minute, this guy is really bad, So they got some boys, still it's questionable though, because when you start talking about cornerbacks and trying to replace Big Slay, you got to have somebody, and some of the guys that we have haven't really showed. I've been watching them; they haven't looked all that good. Now, I did bring in this boy named Jacorum Bennett from the Patriots, I believe he's from, and so they want to give him a shot. Now he said, "I'm going to do what I do," and he didn't play in the first preseason games. I have not really paid that much attention to him because all I do is really pay attention to the NFC East anyway. So I don't really know a lot about him, but he looked like he might be able to get the job done. So that's how I think that, on defense, that's why they're going to, I think the key, I'm going to tell you, Gary, the key is Vic Fangio. He is the key. He is the one that makes the difference between a lot of these coaches that we've had on defense, because he has a tried and true system, and he's not interested in being a head coach anymore. He's just happy to be a defensive coordinator. Well, that's good, because that way the defense doesn't change, and he has a system of attacking. And I don't know if they're going to be able to use four, for the whole season, just for linemen rushing the passer. Okay, I don't know if they can do that. We'll have to see. But it should be very interesting, because if they got to bring one, they got one to bring. And so all these quarterbacks are not, top of the line like Kansas City. Some of these quarterbacks, man, they ought to be backups.
Yeah. So you've listed all of your reasons for optimism. What are your concerns? And where are the weaknesses? Where are there areas of concern on this team? Because every
Well,
team's got them. You
yeah,
alluded to a couple of them.
yeah, we got. I think primarily defense. Um, I think offense. We have Steen, who's taken Mikhail Becton's place. I think it's guard. Landon Dixon got hurt yesterday. No, Sunday. But they say he's going to be back by game 1, game 2, or something. So I'm thinking that on offense, we probably feel pretty good on offense. I don't really see weaknesses on there, but on defense, and we lost enough players to be very concerned about how we're going to perform in the cornerback role, how we're going to perform as safety. I'm not really concerned about um, um, the shoot, what do you call it? Linebackers. Not concerned about the linebackers, and a little concerned about on the line. Okay, so um, so we that's where our weaknesses are. We got coaching, top line. We're still wondering. We have to see about the offense, whether or not the offensive coordinator, is he going to be able to hang in there? I hope he can. He should be able to. He's been there long enough. He's been.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about that as much as defense and really special teams.
Yeah, special teams. They got some new people that are pretty. The our point man on special teams is gone, and they got a new guy. Watching him in the preseason. Um, we've upgraded in that regard, because he can move. He's fast. He's shifty. Um, he got what they call, John, the twitch. So I'm thinking that I don't know about some of the other players, because they don't really talk about the special teams too much. And I'm looking forward to hearing what Coach Clay has to say about the special teams. He hasn't had an interview as of yet, and they have not presented. They only they trying to get it down to 53, and of course you got to play special teams if you're like around 30 to 53. You gotta play. If you're the fourth or fifth wide receiver, what have you, you're gonna play special teams. So I don't know really
I tell you
how strong
what,
our special team is going to be.
All
well, I
right.
tell you what, Jesse. Let's go over this schedule. Let's go over
Okay.
this record and see what you come up with. Gary, you want to call the games out?
All right. Let's see. Well, hold on.
First game,
Yeah,
Eagles.
I'm having a little trouble calling up their schedule. Just in kind of a
Well,
shaky environment. So you guys go down the schedule while I
let
try to
me help
call
you.
it back up.
Let me help you out a little bit. Let me help you out a little bit. See, Jesse, can you?
Yep, I can hear you. Eagles.
All right, Dallas. All right, that's a win. At
Yeah.
Kansas City.
Ooh. Um, I'm thinking that we may. Uh, uh, I'll say I should say that's a loss.
LA Rams.
Eagles.
At Tampa Bay.
Hmm. We owe them boys some kind of bad. Um, I'll say that's a win.
All right. Denver.
Denver. We playing in Denver. Are we playing in Denver?
No, you playing in Philadelphia.
Oh, in Philadelphia.
Playing in Philadelphia.
Denver. They've been talking a lot of stuff, but I think that we'll get a win.
At the New York Giants.
That's a win.
At Minnesota.
I don't even know about Minnesota. Uh, they got a rookie quarterback, or at least it's his second year, but he hasn't played. Um, and I would say that's probably a win for the Eagles.
New York Giants again.
Giants at home. That's a
Yes.
win.
At
Giants
Green
hasn't
Bay.
won at Green Bay. Hmm. That's what it sounds like. Week 7. Um, hmm. I would say that might be a loss. They got this. They got it
You
circled
say a loss to
around
Green Bay?
on the calendar.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
if yeah, possible.
Detroit.
Go. I think we go to Detroit, right?
Home.
Oh, it's at home. Hmm. Hmm. Well, I'll say it's at home. I give it. I say a win for the Eagles.
At Dallas.
That might be a loss.
Chicago.
That's a win.
At the San Diego LA Chargers.
That's a win.
Be careful there,
Home
John.
against the
Your
Raiders.
boy.
Huh?
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 Hey, John, that's your boy, Coach Khaki.
Yeah, he's tough. He's a tough coach. They like to run the ball too. Right up our alley.
Yeah,
What'd you say, John? What'd you say, John?
yeah. I know, Gary. Yes.
Raiders. That's a win for the Eagles.
What you got for the Raiders?
We win for the Eagles
At Washington.
at Washington. That's right. We play them like in 2 times in 3 weeks. At Washington, and that boy Jaden Daniels, tough character. I'll say that might be a loss.
At Buffalo.
At Buffalo. Woo! Uh, uh, hmm. That's a tough one. I might have to go back and change one of my losses to a win. Because I don't
You
know.
got Buffalo, you got Philly.
Buffalo. Oh, Buffalo's in Philly. Oh, Buffalo's in Philly. We'll win.
No, it's at Buffalo.
Oh, is that Buffalo? That's what I thought you said. Um, um, uh, at this point, Buffalo is a tough ticket. I'll say a loss.
Washington.
Win.
So that gives you
I think that's 6 losses.
5.
5. Oh, okay. Well, I said 12-5.
12-5, Jesse. 12-5.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if that gets you to the playoffs. We'll see if that gets you to the Super Bowl.
Well,
We'll see. Garrett, go ahead
All
and
right.
take us home.
Well, another season to look forward to, especially in the NFC East. Now, for what it's worth, we in the Super Bowl, we're not supposed to root for teams in our division, but I think last year we made an exception considering it was Kansas City and you had to slay the giant and you got the job done. But I'll just say good luck. Let's see how it plays out. I've got Washington at what was I think I said what was it 10-7, John, and the prediction that they will lose more games than last season, but be a better team just because of the schedule. There's no place to hide for any team in the division this year, and that's why I think it's going to be interesting. And 11 wins might just win the division. That's how tough it is.
Hey, thank you,
I
Jesse, for coming on today.
yeah.
Greatly appreciate it. We'll see how
Yeah,
this
thank you
season's
for
going to
having me.
go. No problem, man. You all take care. See you again real soon.